Inspector General Police Kayode Egbetokun has refuted claims circulating in the media that the Nigerian Police Force arrested minors during the recent #End Bad Governance protests. Egbetokun clarified that those detained were criminal elements engaged in arson. Now, destruction of properties, they were also engaged in that, and looting of shops and public facilities, not peaceful protesters or minors, please. The IGP further revealed that police officers caught extorting 100 foreigners, including Chinese and Malaysian nationals, who were detained for alleged cybercrime activities in Abuja, were not formally deployed for such duties. These officers have been taken into custody and would face legal consequences. That's what he stated. Speaking at the workshop on enhancing professionalism in criminal investigations that was held at the Police Resource Center in Abuja, Egbetokun actually expressed gratitude to President Bola Tinubu for directing the release of those wrongfully arrested. And he emphasized, however, that nobody, including any minor, was detained simply for protesting. We upheld their right to peaceful protest and provided security. Egbetokun clarified that those arrested were individuals that were caught in criminal acts, including setting public facilities on fire, looting warehouses and shops, and destroying property. Minors were not arrested for participating in protests. This narrative is being falsely propagated, and the suspects were captured on video committing these crimes, including all of the crimes that he mentioned earlier. The IGP also warned that any police officer that is found compromising investigation would face strict disciplinary measures or actions, reiterating that officers who detained minors will not be sanctioned as they acted in response to criminal activities. Susie, please comment on this story. If you have been following the #End Bad Governance protest all the while, down to when we saw the minors in court, down to the fainting, and then the response that it was acting, down to them being released, down to the phones and the cash that were given to adults when we saw minors in court, and people started asking what's going on. These minors we saw didn't have beards and they were not looking this healthy. So this is where the story is now. Please, I'd like to get your thoughts on this one.
That story for me, when I had this story, for me, it sounded very comic. Comic in the sense that the minors were arrested at the end of the day, taken to court, and some of them started fainting. And at the end of the day, the government said it was a script, they were acting and all of that. If you look at the way our laws are structured, the Child Rights Acts actually define what a child is. Someone under the cares of his parents. And then the Child Rights Act is not actually adumbrated only in Nigeria. It was a United Nations Convention on the Child Rights, which Nigeria is a signatory to. So if you look at what it is in reality, the Child Rights Act 2023 of Nigeria, Section 11, subsection 1, will talk about an appraiser for a child to find himself in a recreational place.
Okay.
Now, I will ask a question. Do you know that even, before I ask the question, do you know that even the age for employment in Nigeria begins from 21 years old, according to our constitution? 21 years old. A child that is 18 years old.
That's not a child according to our constitution.
It's
That's not that a child, even according to our constitution.
Now, listen, I'm trying to compare two things now.
Okay.
Now, at the age of 21, now, the age of voting in Nigeria is 18 years old.
Yes.
You understand? So, and the Child Rights Act will tell you that a child is somebody below the age of 21, which is from, they use 18 years old. Then 21 years old is also given priority. If you employ a child that is below 21 years old, you are committing a crime which is punishable in our law.
You mean if you employ
if you
an
employ,
adult?
if you
Because below 21
I want to show you.
It's no longer a child.
So to this extent now there are also places where the child which is below 18 years old could be employed according to the law of contract.
Okay.
Now, or maybe let's say where that child could be punished. And now the punishment is not actually the one we are seeing now. Like if I'm running a restaurant, say Buka on the street now, and a child comes to eat without payment, you know what I would do? I could frown on that child.
Sorry,
but
this child, at what age range do you
I'm using
refer
18.
to as a child?
I'm using 18.
Okay.
I'm using 18. 18 is actually what it says.
Okay.
But I'm trying to differentiate the age of voting in election.
Okay.
That means if you don't get the information that age of employment in an institution is 21 years old, you could think that the age of voting is the age of employment in everybody in Nigeria. Okay. You see the difference. So there is this confusion. Now, if that child eats the food, the person inside that place could also decide to, frown at that child. You understand? Or maybe ask him to wash plate and all of that. But if that child who does not have that child does not have the money, goes to a place like one of the eateries, not to mention name, that is sophisticated to eat a plate of food which is worth of 5,000, maybe 6,000 as the case may be in some places. There are disparities. Everybody don't say the same. What they will do is to actually hold that child and get across to the parents. So when you are holding the child, what are you doing? You're automatically holding that child hostage. You understand? Because our law it spills like this. By the time you hold that child, somebody could also sue you and say you are detaining a child. You're holding a child hostage. And the moment their matter is taken to court for holding somebody hostage, the penalty, when they begin to read it in our criminal code concept and all of that. But you're actually doing the right thing. So now, you can see that some of the provisions will raise an eyebrow to how can a child now be part of protest? When the same child right is saying that even a child too should not be used for other responsibilities like they would call it child abuse and all of that. A child should not be given to marriage. That child right actually is stipulated. If you go to the section 51, 27, 31 of it, I can't really phantom it. That is what he said. You understand? But how come a child was found in protests? The protest wasn't meant for children. Because so who are those responsible for using the children as a shield? As we are here now, maybe somebody of 15 years old now go to buy fuel and come to, God forbid, an institution like this, organization like this, and then try to, set the place ablaze. You will not say because he's a child, you won't do anything. You will just allow him to go. You will hold that person responsible, hold him responsible, liable, and then see how you can inform the law enforcement agencies in essence, so that the parents could come and get him out of the place.
In essence, because these kids were used, these children in question were used as an upfront for this protest, thinking they will not be arrested.
That is an assumption. Okay. That is an assumption.
Okay,
I'm not saying it's certain. Okay. Because if you look at the argument from the government and some other people speaking for the government, in the government side and even the police and all of that, you discover that the government is actually, seeing beyond the children. There is something that is beating the drum for the children. And then if you look at it very well, there are also those coming out to talk for the children, protecting their interest, which is okay. You understand? Because we run a state that is made of law, which is a constitutional democracy and all of that.
So you're saying that these children did not come out at will to make this protest? Someone actually orchestrated it?
Like I would say again, it is not actually my position that they didn't come out for the protest because of the hunger protests. They came out. But the assumption is, it is not really that they want to come out for this hunger protest. I read it from what a child should have as a responsibility between a period and time and space. When people are going for protests, as a child, why should a child be part of protest? Does a child provide for himself? Because from the definition of what a child is, the predicate speaks that a child is somebody that is being provided for by his parents.
We get the definition of a child and the position of the constitution, like you have said. But we're trying to get to your points. So can you hit it already? What exactly are you trying to say with your explanation?
What I'm trying to say in essence is that it shouldn't have happened. Like I want to agree with even those who are protecting the child and even those who are also saying that there is more to it than the children even just protesting. So
let's look at, let's take it from, so that we can get you very well.
Yeah.
Let's take it from what the IGP has said concerning the fact that minors were not arrested for protesting. They were the people who were arrested as criminals because of what they saw them doing, and he went on to mention the activities,
the assets, and all of that.
That's what he went on to mention. So it's your comment on that I want to
now you discover that anything that concerns law, there is nothing like ignorance that I do not know. It's not an excuse. If you are a child and you are seen committing a crime, which is actually premised in the Constitution, the law will go after you before we begin to discover whether you are an adult or a child.
All right,
that is what happened in this case.
Susie.